A lot of roadkill out there.
Oh, God!
Let's do this!
Dirty Cali nights, I still remember.
To my birthday!
To my baby's birthday!
Yo, hey, let's go. Open the door.
Didn't you hear the emergency broadcasting? Everybody's supposed to evacuate.
Thank God you're here. There's a killer on the loose.
Hey everyone, Rick Hong here for Hollywood First Look Features. Today I am with Kade Wise and JEANETTE Samano, and we are talking their movie, Murder in the Woods. So, right off the bat, I wanted to tell you congratulations. I had a fun time watching this.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be in this horror movie with all this Latinx representation?
JEANETTE?
Thanks, Kate. Honestly, it's such a good feeling working with everybody, especially a group of such a diverse group. We filmed this a couple years ago, and it's finally getting the recognition that it deserves, and we are excited for it to come out on Friday, so we can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll second that. It's also wonderful that people from different walks of life can appreciate a film that kind of focuses on a Hispanic American backdrop. And it's nice to see that other people from everywhere can relate to it and enjoy it just like any other ordinary piece of American cinema, you know? So I think I'm very excited about that, the fact that it's not only diverse, it speaks for diversity, and people are actually receiving it well. So it's very humbling.
Yelyna, so are you like a horror buff? Is that why you decided to write this film?
Yes, I love horror, but I watch it like this because it scares me. But actually, this is a love letter to my grandmother, because when I was a kid, when I would go to bed, she'd tell me bedtime stories, and they were always very scary, but they always had a moral. So yes, I love horror, especially if they have a good message.
And then, Luis, and the same for you. Are you like a horror buff and you're like, yeah, I want to direct this?
Yeah. Growing up, I grew up with the classics of, Wes Craven and Mr. Carpenter, Halloween, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Scream. So I've always loved those movies, especially this slasher genre, right? It's like, horror is always tense and the slasher is, quirky, like you laugh. You have very relatable characters that, usually they're going to have a good time and then things start happening. So for me, it was about that. It's having I always love those movies because you get to laugh and then you get to get scared and you don't know what's going to happen and where where the jump's going to come from.
So what's interesting about your characters is that I want to say there's a definite contrast between your two characters. JEANETTE, you're like the sweet, innocent girl in this movie, but so how close are you in real life to your character?
I mean, I think I'm pretty nice, right, Kate?
You're a hooligan. Stop it.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty nice. No, we're definitely, we definitely have a lot in common, I think, for sure. Fernanda is very sweet and not as outgoing as JEANETTE, but I think we definitely connect on the strong aspect. There's a huge arc that Fernanda goes through, and I think we definitely connect on that level. So I'm excited for people to see her character.
Yes.
And Kade, your character, you're like the fun guy. I mean, almost like the fun guy across the screen from me right now. In the whole movie, the whole time, it's the fun guy. It's like, I feel like that's me. I'm like, yeah, hey, let's party. Let's have a good time. We're going to some venue. Let's do this. So like, I want to say like, you probably relate more to your character than anything.
Oh, well, thank you, Rick. Stop it. No, I would say there are definitely a lot of similarities in the character of Jules and the person I am in my day-to-day being. I think what I liked about Jules so much is that he was a guy who did not panic until there was a reason to panic, to really panic. And until then, he was the guy that was just all about the party, all about the good time, all about enjoying that moment right there. Not the best influence, as you can see from the trailer. He likes to smoke, he likes to drink.
But he's fun. He's fun.
He's certainly fun. He's certainly fun. I like his growth in the story. Obviously, it's even though he is a comic relief a little bit, it is essentially a horror slasher film. So the circumstances do get pretty serious, and a guy that wants to have fun all the time is clearly not just going to want to have fun when his life and his peers' lives are on the line. So it's nice to see him evolve and see everybody evolve on how they kind of just deliver the goods to kind of stay alive. And as far as me in my real life, I'm pretty much a jokester, but I'm also pretty like, you know, kind of like like I can have a serious side. I think the only thing that changed between now, as Jeanette mentioned a few years ago to today, is I just grew up a little bit, so I'm a little calmer. That's about it. Jule is still there deep down, you know. Bring the booze out, you'll see.
For both of you, and Yelyna, I'll start with you because you're the writer. So how much fun is that to, you know, to like sit there and write and say like, okay, this is how I want this character to go. This is how I want that character to go. And then Luis, like how much fun is it to direct and say like, now this is how I imagine I'm gonna kill these people off?
Well, I love Agatha Christie, so all of her whodunits, like I have a big influence there. I really love that, and I love escape rooms. I just love figuring things out. Board games, like, you know, as a kid, that was just something that I always enjoyed doing. Mysteries, Zelda, all kinds of things like that. So and this was so much fun because I was like, oh, I get to kill any of my exes if I want. In any way, let me think about this. Anybody who's wronged me, or you know, just fun stuff like that. So yeah, it was actually really fun.
It's crazy how a scary movie, you know, you're scaring people, but when you're on set, there's so much fun and everybody's laughing. Because, you know, the blood never squirts the way it's supposed to, especially in a lower budget movie, right? When you only have like 2 or 3 shirts, right, that you can get stained, and that's it. You got 3 takes. That's all you got, right? So, it's always fun to figure out, you know, an original way of visually showing something, you know, how you're slashing people, and also giving it meaning, right? Giving it meaning to the deaths. I mean, it's hard to talk about this movie because you don't want to give things away, and because it is a whodunit and it has a bunch of twists and turns, it's hard.
This is a horror movie, so obviously, like when you're on set, you know, there's a lot of things that are missing, like the music, the soundtrack. So I wanted to know what your own reactions were to watching this with all the elements in place.
I mean, I think for me, I never really grew up on watching scary movies or horror movies. I was always a chicken when it came to that kind of stuff. But definitely watching your own film and you're like, oh wow, I was really scared in that point. Like, you know, so I love doing it. It's like, it's so weird. I love being in movies like this, but I'm a chicken when it comes to watching it. So even when I know what's like coming up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm scared. But I'm like, Jeanette, you already know what happens. Like, you know, I don't know. It's pretty funny.
Well, you both were great in this. The movie is Murder in the Woods. You can catch it on digital September 18th. Until next time, I'm Rick Hong, and you've been watching Hollywood First Look Features.
You came to protect us?
I came to get laid.